Let's move into something that happened last night called the Kent State football game. They ended up losing 30-7. Kent State had one passing yard in the first half.
It was -1 passing yards.
It was -1 passing yards.
-1 passing yards. Even worse.
Oh
boy.
So I did not watch the game. I did not have the. Is it Pac-10 or Pac-12?
It's Pac-12.
Pac-12. Okay. You guys can tell I'm not the biggest college football fan. I watch the big schools, but I was paying attention last night to Michael's Twitter feed, trying to follow along with the game. I know Woody Barrett did get benched was it the second quarter?
It was the second quarter, but then he came back in the third and threw a touchdown pass to Isaiah McCoy from about 21 yards out. But yeah, Woody
That was late in the game, though, correct?
That was late in the game. That was when it was already over.
Was it basically a gimme touchdown, like garbage time,
Yeah, it was 27-0 at that time, and then Kent State had their first touchdown pass. And in the second quarter, Woody Bear was benched. I just think it was because the jitters got to him. It was the first game of the new season. You're up against the Power 5, but not just that, people. Game time temperature was 101 degrees. So right there, I mean, you're playing in elements that we obviously don't get in Northeast Ohio because we get a month and a half of summer, right? I mean, really, and and with that, I just think that Kent State was completely overmatched, and that there's no problem with that because, the reason why you have the Power 5 on your schedule is so that you can get better. And I like how the Kent State defense played, believe it or not. They gave up 30 points. The final score was 30-7, but they had a lot of red zone stops that would have been touchdowns, but they held them to field goals. And another thing, Theo Najet looked like he was in on every play. Really did. Defensive end for Kent State, good job there. They forced a couple turnovers. I was watching the game here in the second quarter when it was still relatively close. Eno Benjamin for the Sun Devils. He ran like he was going to the end zone, got to about the 10, and fumbled the ball away to the Flashes. And guess what, Brandon? That was the first time since 2016 that Arizona State fumbled a ball on a run play. So,
that's hard to believe. I mean, even in whatever sport, pee-wee football, high school football, you don't fumble on a run play for 3 years?
Yeah.
3 years!
I think it was 902 consecutive snaps.
Now, wait a minute. You're telling me a team in like I said, pee-wee football, high school football, whatever football you watch, there's at least a fumble a game.
You would think, right?
How do you not fumble for 3 years on a run play? That's incredible.
The Flashes had a couple of fumbles last night, so, that just goes to show. But, even though the Flashes gave up 30 points, I think it was still a strong defensive showing within the red zone, and that's a good positive takeaway from there. But once again, when you're playing these Power 5s, that's what you got to expect. Good effort for the Flashes. I think that the Woody Barrett, Dustin Crum thing, the quarterback thing, I think that really might be the least of their issues. The one thing that I would like to see more of next week, and the one thing, Brandon, that I was surprised that I didn't see, last night, was Woody Barrett just stayed in the pocket the entire game, and that's fine. But I remember last season at Illinois, in the game where Kent State was really close to stealing that one in Champaign. Woody Barrett improvised, he ad-libbed, and he ran the ball on fourth down on these short 4th and 5s.
Right.
It looked like he sat back in the pocket last night and was just trying to hit his man, and that's fine. But I think that more improvising on Woody Barrett in the read option would really work out for the Flashes, especially next week against Kennesaw State in the first home game of the year.
Oh, I agree. Okay, I was just looking up Arizona State's running backs coach. Sean Aguado? Can somebody hire him in the NFL? How do you not fumble for 3 years? That's coaching. How they always say, don't fumble the ball. That's coaching. Like, I can't get over that.
And the fumble didn't happen in midfield, Brandon. It happened 10 yards from the opposite goal line. They were going to score 6.
So how did the fumble happen? Did he strip it away? Did he just big hit him?
It was near the sideline. I think he stripped it away from underneath, if I remember. It was a tackle from behind, and the opposite linebacker picked it up right by the out-of-bounds line.
And I mean, you can make an argument that, like, that's the way most fumbles occur, is because you can't see what happens behind you. So you're just hoping that there's nobody trying to, somebody can punch behind. That's the easiest way to get the ball out. If some guy's running towards you, they're trying to strip the ball out, you can see them. You can try and fight them off. When somebody's behind you, you don't know they're behind you.
Right, yeah.
They just come up behind you and knock the ball out. So even that, hey, great play, defensive lineman, So, fascinating. But yeah, I agree with you when it comes to Woody Barrett. I called the wagon wheel game, Akron, Kent State, last year here at Dick Stadium. Woody Barrett ran a lot. Woody ran, I don't have the stats in front of me, but he ran a lot. He made some plays in that game. And it's funny, when I talked to Sean Lewis at the spring game this past, I want to say it was April, Sean told me that Woody has a good command of the offense, and Woody even said, I know this offense now like the back of my hand. I feel really good. I feel like I can use my arm and my legs to make plays. And I felt like coming into the season that they wanted Woody to be more of a pocket passer, but they also, it's like a Deshaun Watson in the NFL, for example, a guy who can use his legs and throw the ball down the field. So I really feel like that's a shock to me, because the first play I think I would have called of the year would be a read option.
Right.
With Woody Barrett. I mean, you would think, especially, maybe not towards the goal line because the field is so condensed, but I think the more field you have, the better it is to run. That's why I think it's where these offenses struggle, is in the red zone, because, when you're running this spread offense, well, you can't really spread out in between the 20s. Mm-hmm. I think the one concern I do have about this Kent State offense is they last night ran the second least amount of plays they've ran so far in the Sean Lewis era. When I talked to Sean Lewis, he mentioned wanting to run about 120 plays. That number alone concerns me, because I have never believed in the college offense, no huddle, run these amount of plays. I don't believe in that. What's your thought on that?
Well, I think a lot of the time in the college game, a lot of the times defense is based on, the players that you have on the field, not necessarily the scheme. And to be honest, I like the no-huddle offense in the college game because the game moves so quickly. Take the Big 12, for instance. There's a reason why they put up 50 points a game.
Because they're playing no defenses and it's all shootouts. It's boring.
Right, but I mean, with this Kent State defense and the way that the Kent State defense is healthy, once the offensive line, there was one offensive lineman that was out of the game last night, but also Mike Kerrigan, Woody Barrett's favorite target, other than Antoine Dixon, of course, he was out of the game. So you got to think to yourself, once Kent State gets healthy, they're going to be able to move the ball as quickly as they want to. And you know what? Maybe it might not result in, 7-8 wins. But I don't think that's the point. This is Sean Lewis's second year, and I think that, 5 wins or more is probably a positive. 5 or 6 wins or more is probably a positive outlook for this team.
I mean, if you want to be technical, 3 wins is positive. I mean, they only won 2 last year, and the 2 games they won were not that impressive wins. So I just think it's about building that culture, and, I think last year we were all so excited because based off the old system with Paul Hoynes where they never threw the ball one time, it was going to be vastly different. So I think, expected improvement, and I think 2 wins kind of felt like they could have done better. But I think this year is just about, hey, let's get better. Let's not worry about the wins and losses. That's the take I got from Sean Lewis. Last year he set a goal. Like, bowl game was his goal. This year he didn't set a goal. He said, I'm not worried about wins and losses. I'm just worried about, can we get better? Can we actually win some games this year?
I'm not here to worry about wins and losses. I'm just here to play some football. That's what Sean Lewis is saying.